It all started from high school. I went into uni after year 12, and then found out that that wasn't for me, and actually took a little stint into bartending. That shortly followed after my Cert 2 course of painting, and found my way into Higgins, and enjoyed it ever since. Yes, I found out once you kind of hit year 11 and 12, you're more future driven into universities. And I was one of those people that got brought into that university program and was expected to go straight into uni. But as it would happen for a lot of other people, that's not always the case. They might not like university and would rather get into a labour background, and that's what I've done. So, like a lot of people think of painting as just painting ceilings, walls, and woodwork. But at Higgins, it's much more than just that. I'm lucky to have been able to travel all around Adelaide and maybe even up to Darwin. I've done a bit of work up there, and you're always doing something new, whether it's working off a boom lift, scaffold, or water blasting, stuff like that. So it's always something different, and it makes it more enjoyable. Yeah, so I knew one of the other apprentices at the time personally, and I told him what I went through at one of the other painting companies, and it just happened to be at the time that Higgins were looking for another apprentice, and I got in contact with Brett, as you know quite well, and done a small trial, and they found that I was a good fit for the team, and they brought me on. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'll start by saying that I wouldn't have been able to be considered for that award if it wasn't for the mentors and other foremen at Higgins before I started. They've helped me along the way and taught me everything I needed to know. So a lot of that award has come from them. So it's as much of an individual award it is, I find it more of a good thing for Higgins to be able to provide that services for young apprentices. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're just painting as an apprentice, you don't have a lot to do with fronting jobs. But as you see other foremen do, they run a lot of jobs and talk to clients and a lot of other people as well. So that was one of the most difficult things that I had to go through, was having that confidence to be able to talk to clients. If you asked me to have something like this 3 years ago, I would have fallen off my seat. So that's a lot to do with the improvement I've had in my apprenticeship. And that's what I've looked up to in the foreman, was just a lot of communicating. It's always something different. So as I said before, I've travelled so many different places across Adelaide, doing a wide range of different painting activities, which is why Higgins is good. It's always something different. So I love my EWP work, so I kind of pride myself on that stuff. But yeah, it's always different every day, so it makes it enjoyable. The advice I would be is just go for it. So a lot of people, especially after they finish school, they kind of wait around and see what's right for them, but never really get into a career. So my advice would be just go for it. Have a few months of experience under your belt and see how you go from there. But at the end of the day, it isn't easy work either. So it's not something that will just fall on a platter. So everyone at Higgins has earned their spot, but it is a bit of hard work. But if you're task driven and enthusiastic about painting, then that's definitely a good career for you.
I think I started in a really similar place to Brenton. So getting to know Brenton in preparing for this series here, you go through high school, and I went on beyond high school. You don't always know where you're going to end up, but you have a bit of an idea. And you get a job, you make a start in it, and every day's a new day. And lo and behold, I've just crossed over 30 years at Dulux, but I actually worked for a small paint company. Believe it or not, a small paint company here in Victoria at the time, back in the early 90s, 30 people. I drove the forklift, worked in the factory, tinted the paint, and I thought, not really career opportunities for promotion. And I jumped into a big paint company with thousands of staff in Dulux, and that just opened up so many pathways. So Ralph, over 30 years, I've had about 8 or 9 really, really different jobs, and probably in one of my final roles, I'm the national training manager in the trade team for Dulux. Well, going through high school, I liked maths and science. I was one of those nerdy kids. I had the calculator and the pens in the top pocket, and a little bit of an introvert. And to me, chemistry was about problem solving, trying to understand something. You look at it, how does that work? And it took me down through university into maths and sciences, and I really liked chemistry, So then a job opened up in a small paint company to be technical service and in production, dealing with chemicals, adding them together, making paint. And then I transferred into Dulux, into their research laboratories, and I was one of 70 industrial chemists. And I spent about 3 years in the lab, and then, hey, these career opportunities come up. Well, some of them are developing new resin that's a component of paint. Then some chemists would get that resin and then make it into a paint, and then some people would go out and field trial it. So there's all of these stages, from research to one little piece of development to making a paint. And then we've got a team where we improve our products, but we also get all of our competitor products and we try and tear them apart so we can learn, because we always want to say, worth doing, worth Dulux. So, and then every now and again, some of our customers have problems in the field. So we want to make sure we've got the right qualified people to get you out of a bind. So all the way from research, all the way through to customer support. And then there's guys developing new colors. And we've got protective coatings. Brenton, you said there's no sort of one day the same. One day I could be talking to a customer about a wood care, a protective coating, or a texture coating. So, wow, only got 2,500 products, Ralph, only 2,500. So my sort of career path has been started in the laboratory as an industrial research chemist. I went into procurement. So I used my technical knowledge and then learnt some commercial negotiation skills, the opposite side of sales. So looking after procurement, the purchasing of chemicals. Then I got tapped on the shoulder and asked, would you like to come into the marketing team, develop and launch new products? I was really nervous, going, me, a nerdy chemist? I had a lot of people supported me, and I had the absolute pleasure of managing the Dulux professional brand for a decade. All the way through that, professional was designed and developed for us here in the trade. Then I ran a small business unit for a while. I only had a small stint in sales. And then when the hair's gotten a little bit grayer, Ralph and team, I've got a pretty awesome job at the moment. I'm the National Trade Training Manager, and my prime focus is store staff and the sales reps. When you walk into our store or you're seeing one of our sales guys on a work site, you should expect that they have really great product knowledge. So I'm building and helping develop a program to make sure that they're always continuously learning and developing about our products, not just the wet stuff in the can, but how to get it out and how to sort of assist our customers. So that'll be my legacy, the product knowledge and the sales capability skills of the Dulux team. The thing I'm really, was thrilled about across, it was in 2019 and again in 2022, when it was the Spray in May learning series nationally. One of my own personal learnings was, yep, a lot of us can brush and roll, but to be really on top of the game around airless spray and also fine finish. So an absolute delight working with Nick Higgins and all of the operations teams in every state to go, hey, let's see if we can look at a job and go, maybe we should be spraying that. Instead of getting busy early, brushing and rolling, slowing down a bit, going, we're going to spray that. So we're going to be better, faster. We're going to deliver great quality and basically say, you know, Higgins needs to spray more jobs. So that was an absolute treat to be part of Spray in May this year and working with Graco and Higgins over many years now.
A good thing about that session that we had was that they brought new designs of equipment out, and we're a little bit used to how it used to be run, but with the new designs, you're able to use dual guns, and it's a lot more efficient and a lot better quality as well, as Tim said. So I went back from that session thinking, as he said, you know, we will be able to spray this instead of just cut and rolling it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so we're very lucky to work in a company like Higgins. So when you start from an apprentice, you want to get to that full-time position painter, and then it can lead into a foreman position, and then from there on in, there's a wide variety of places you can get into, like a few of the other guys have. As we spoke before about Brett and even one of the project managers at the moment, Dan. They started off as painters, and now Brett's running his own show in Darwin, and Dan's now the operations manager in South Australia. So there's a lot of places you go to just from painting. Yeah, absolutely. We still got a lot of training. So luckily we'll able to have that spray day. So that was good training for all the full-timers here, as well as some EWP training. Every now and then we might need a little bit more information on if something changes and stuff like that. So there's still a lot of training that we all require.
In that time frame, Ralph, I think we're going to continue to be impacted by labour shortages. Okay, there's no shortage of work. What we have to do is to have the right size teams and the resources to be able to complete the work. I think for us to keep pace in the industry is we need to deliver productivity benefits. Look, it's a little bit of a long-winded term, but we have to be better at our game. And I'll just keep swinging back to our products have to be better. Our paints, they have to be more versatile. They have to deliver the benefits which really enable time and labor savings for professional painters. And as painters ourselves, we have to make sure that we use the right product for the right job. And I just always keep coming back to one of the things across Australia and New Zealand in our part of the world, we have to find more and more opportunities to spray. You know, the environmental push is still there, Ralph, with our products. We need to keep pace with that and all of the things we do around that. And we have to make sure that we deliver those durability and reliability benefits from our products. But high level, I think labor constraints and shortages, and we collectively as an industry need to keep pace with that and make sure that we're there to be the partner and the supplier of choice for your clients. Look, there's been a lot of improvement around the wet stuff in the can, about the lower VOC water-based coatings and making sure we don't use any chemicals of concern. But then when you have a look at the packaging, we have partnered with organisations like Higgins as well as state governments that we needed to lift our game. When I walked onto some of your larger sites, you know, you shed a little bit a bit of a tear when you have a look in the skip and you look inside and you go, all of that's going to landfill. So we've partnered with Higgins Coatings to go, those plastic pails, a lot more of them were going to landfill than tin plate steel. So team, when you see a plastic 15-litre pail, flip it upside down. There's a little triangle on the back side of it, and there's a little number 5. That's polypropylene. So that's a specialty plastic, which we use for our paint pails. It's rigid and strong. Plastic recyclers love that number 5 plastic. And what we need to do is stop putting it in the skip to go to landfill, but to collect it together and put it back into the recycling stream. Now that pail, which you help us to, keep dry and recycle, we're putting it back into pails, and we're making paint trays, and we're making dumb, silly things like paint stirrers out of it. And I actually think that's a pretty cool thing we're doing together. That's why we have to work together and be better at our game. And that's our Project Earth. And you might ask, why weren't we doing it a decade ago? Well, we're there now before the government has said to us, lift your game.
Well, when I first came to Higgins, they pretty much welcomed me with open arms. So I was able to work with anyone, and they would be able to take the time out of the day just to teach me something, for if I haven't quite learned something, they'll go through how to do it properly. So it's a great team environment here. And as I mentioned before, Brett actually went out of his way and stayed back after hours a few times just to show me how to paint something properly and stuff like that. So it's a great environment to be around. Yeah, absolutely. I've recommended it a few times to a few other tradesmen that I tried to lure them into painting. But yeah, that's definitely a good recommendation, and I'll be continuing to recommend Higgins for many more years to come.
I think what's unique about it is the way we view each other. We don't view Higgins as someone that buys paint from us. And I don't think you view us as just as someone that supplies you ABC product. We get a kick out of seeing the jobs that Higgins Coatings have completed. You're on some awesome icon jobs all across the country, from government assets all the way through to commercial premises. And you can just be a supplier of ABC, or you can actually say, we'd like to help you succeed. I think there's a lot of respect. We're big professional organizations. Now, we challenge each other appropriately so, and we don't take each other for granted. But when you truly understand what you guys are trying to achieve collectively, we want to come on the journey and do so much more than just provide you wet stuff in a can. Have we got the right stores, the right service levels? Have we got the right representation, technical support when you need it? And then, hey, we're collaborating on projects like Spray in May, and we're collaborating on Project Earth. And guess what? The rest just happens.